Hey everybody, it's Jess with Razorback Armory. This is our Bullet Points podcast. We're doing Sig Sauer suppressors. Today I've got Jacob Wideman with Sig Suppressors, Sig Guns, Sig Rifles, Sig everything.
Yes.
He's going to help us out, kind of give us the rundown on your new suppressor line.
Yes, just to get you up to speed where Sig is going with our suppressors, you'll notice that everything looks a little bit different than the past lineup.
A little more futuristic.
A little bit more futuristic, but not, you have them here.
I know.
This is
the future is now.
The future is now. We have stepped away from a welded baffle design or a baffle inside of a tube. We're doing additive manufacturing, kind of a fancy word for 3D printing.
But this is not like your cat toy or the little plastic part for
Not
your
a
kids,
cat toy.
your kid's porn, or your
No.
kid's little car or something. So
Still using the same materials, so we're using 718 Inconel as well as titanium, but we're able to evolve the suppressor into different shapes and geometry on the inside that we can't get with standardized tooling.
Gotcha.
To kind of start you off with the ModX 9 suppressor, that will be similar to what, if you're familiar with our SRD or SRD 9.
Okay, yes, absolutely.
So pretty much with a modular suppressor, each little line that you can kind of see here is its own baffle itself. So we're doing a 3D printed baffle with ModX 9 that is modular. So you're going to see numberings pretty much 1 through 7. 7 is a full stack can. So if you're shooting 9mm subsonic ammo, you're going to be around that 127 dB range on a ModX 9. You can take it all the way down to 3 baffles.
Okay.
And still stay hearing safe at that 140 threshold, just with the minimum of 3 baffles.
Can I get that Instagram look with 1 baffle? What kind of performance are we getting out of 1 baffle? Pretty much nothing.
It will take off a little bit of the edge, but definitely not be hearing safe.
I got you. So 3 baffles, hearing safe.
3 baffles hearing
Obviously,
safe.
the full 7 stack, we're going to get really good decibel reduction.
Absolutely.
On our subs. Okay.
Also, with all of our pistol suppressors, we will ship it with a 1/2x28 as well as a 13.1 left-hand thread. So we're giving you the piston right out of the box. Whenever that customer opens it up, they're also going to see 2 springs in the box.
Yeah.
So whenever you start adding weight and length to the suppressor, changes a little bit of the harmonics on the end of the gun. So we give you those added springs just to be able to tune the suppressor to the different sizes of the gun.
For your weapon and that. And then there's still a delete collar.
Yes.
So we're going on your sub guns and everything where you can't use the piston system.
We also have a fixed barrel spacer that you can replace the spring altogether.
Nice.
And put that on any fixed barrel PCC or AR9 or MCX, MPX.
Gotcha. So that's just a direct replacement part from Sig?
In the box.
In the box.
Yes.
Cool.
So pretty much everything that you need to either put this on a PCC rifle or handgun, it's shipping in the box. That the customer doesn't have to go out and buy extra parts or pieces to run that on his 9mm or 45.
So
handgun.
same as 9 and 45, identical, obviously larger bore, larger
Bore
caliber,
diameter.
but all the extras and all the extra pieces, parts, pistons, springs, delete collar, direct thread, everything's coming with it.
It's all in the box.
Perfect. Perfect.
Customers might ask, we also have a numbering system on the can itself per baffle. You can orientate the baffle. You could put 7 as the end cap anywhere in the stack, remove 3 and 5, and have 1, 2, 4, and 7. It will physically work in any form or fashion, but to preserve accuracy the best, we have wire EDMR bores.
Okay.
So if you can keep those numbers in order, whenever you put your baffle stack back together, you're going to be as concentric as possible to preserve accuracy.
So yeah, so you're basically not spinning that gas a different way. When you put them all in line, you know the numbers are in line, you know the baffles are oriented properly.
Exactly.
Yep.
And then if some people might be a little bit questioning the design pattern on the outside, a little, again, futuristic or Star Wars look, it actually adds structural integrity by bracing the can. Because it is a all titanium can, you're looking at about an 8-ounce suppressor. There'll be 2 wrenches that go in the box or come out of the box that go in those grooves itself. They act as wrench flats just to be able to take the can apart.
Yeah, so break it loose, take it down, clean it.
Yep, clean it.
Clean it.
Exactly.
Some of my customers don't know what that means.
Basic righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. If you pretty much get it snug, hand tight, your numbers line up, you know you're tight enough.
Good.
So you don't have to really go cranking or wrenching on that.
Yep.
We've also used a high temp Cerakote. So if the coating on there is extremely durable. So
Exactly.
if you need to throw it in an ultrasonic, I have used one myself. Don't worry about that coating possibly.
Yeah, it's not gonna peel or pop the coating like a cheap finish where it's actually gonna blister or bubble up on you.
Exactly.
That's on there. It's not coming off, and with the titanium 3D printed.
3D print additive manufacturing.
That's definitely basically your solvent safe. Your any of your cleaning products that you would use on a bore, definitely safe, and ultrasonic safe.
Anything that's made for gun for
Yeah.
cleaning is perfectly fine for your suppressor.
Yep.
And one thing that did drop today on soldier systems that we get to announce, USOCOM has adopted the Mod X9.
Nice.
So that's a nice another big win for Sig Sauer.
Yep.
Just adding another piece that gets developed for high professional end users that the consumer market also has access to.
Yeah, so that's always good too. That obviously Sig always supports our military, designs weapons for our military, but it's also something that will trickle down and get in the hands of civilians.
Exactly.
That you can use it too, and kind of be using the same technology that they're using.
Yes, and that's a great segue because that is where the SLX and SLH rifle suppressors were developed. We had some military tenders and contracts that the military wasn't chasing sound as much as they were toxic gas. With the standardized testing, SIG wanted to have a suppressor that at the ejection port exerted less gas than a standard M4 unsuppressed. It's a pretty hard defeat.
That's a high task to meet. Yeah.
Yes. So there was literally a box developed that the rifle goes inside, and it can meter parts per million of mercury, carbon, ammonia, all the bad stuff.
All the spent gases that are coming out of it.
All the bad, nasty stuff that you really shouldn't be breathing on a day-to-day basis. If you saw those chemicals in the raw, you'd say, "Don't stay away from it."
Yeah.
So with the SLX can, that is more of a flow through, some pretty crazy geometry that we can redirect those gases. But with that box that we were able to control parts per million, roughly you're around 120 parts per million of that gas. We're able to get down to 90 parts per million.
Nice.
Suppressed. Whenever an unsuppressed gun's 120.
Sure, and that helps with your flow through, which a lot of people don't get. So flow through technology and baffles. So baffle technology, it actually goes into each chamber, kind of spins up in those chambers. As soon as it hits that first baffle, though, you start creating back pressure, which is actually starting to flow gases backwards through the weapon, especially as soon as the bolt opens.
You will pretty much have gases that come back through the bore, and once you start increasing back pressure, you start running the gun hotter, you run the gun dirtier, you're starting to wear parts faster than you would shooting an unsuppressed gun.
Absolutely.
So with a SLX can, you're going to run the gun cooler and cleaner, as well as having pretty much less wear and tear on your gun.
Yes. And the gas, a lot of people will talk about gas of the shooter, what they're breathing. That's the parts per million we're talking about. That's the nastiness. A lot of people will feel that, and as it's coming out of the weapon. So these are designed to mitigate and reduce that.
Absolutely.
And still keep it hearing safe, still keep it suppressed, still keep everything flowing, but you're getting the added benefit of the cooling. You're getting the added benefit of not wearing your parts out and keeping everything running a lot smoother.
Correct. And you're going to hear SLX and SLH. The major difference between the two, cosmetically on the outside, they are identical. SLX is optimized for supersonic ammunition.
Okay.
It is going to be offered only in Inconel, but we still offer it in 5.56. Right there we have the 5.56 direct thread, as well as a 5.56 QD in our compact K cans. The one that I have here is our full size 5.56 in Inconel, as well as we do have a 7.62. When we're optimizing it for high pressure, it's not that you can't shoot subs through it, that it's made to go on your SBR, your little short gun. That's going to be running pretty much a very hard, rugged firing schedule.
It's going to be run hard. It's going to be run hot ammo. It's going to get cycled.
Correct. And we also have integrated, another thing that we were chasing was not just sound signature, but visible signature. So we have integrated a flash hider into the end of the suppressor
for your cap,
and that will just help reduce that flash signature that's offered on some other cans. With the SLH lineup, kind of think H for hybrid or hunting. The H will have a standard core baffle that starts out, then pretty much within the body of the suppressor itself will turn into that flow through.
Flow through.
So the little bit of the science behind it and percentages, we're able to pretty much obtain 60 to 80%, depending on cartridge, of flow through that's passed through the can on our SLX. There's about 50% of the gas that's going to exit through the can on the SLH. That pretty much takeaway is you're going to have more sound suppression because it is capturing more gas and keeping it within the can itself.
Yeah, so we're holding it and then releasing it, controlling it, which is suppression. That's
exactly
how it works.
Yes.
Yep.
Also within the SLH lineup, we're going to offer that in titanium.
Okay.
So there's going to be a weight savings. We still offer it in Inconel. You save a little bit of money on the Inconel side versus the titanium for material cost, but there is a pretty big trade-off in weight. If it's going on a hunting rifle, ounces turn into pounds on a high mountain hunt.
You're packing it over the mountain. You want to know what you're going to know what's in the pack. You know how much the pack weighs. You're going to know what your gun weighs.
Exactly. Another design change was our QD system. On the SRD lineup that we had previously, there was a large kind of Acme thread and then a ratcheting lock collar.
Lock collar.
Pretty much once you got it on the rifle mount itself, that locking collar pretty much just had a tooth that held it in place. We now have a cam lock system. So there's 3 physical cams inside the mount itself. So whenever you just hand tighten the suppressor on that mount and put the suppressor in the lock position, those cams engage the bearing surface of the mount itself. And if you go to loosen the can, those cams engage that bearing surface and it only gets tighter. So to be able to release it, just literally
got to take it to the, and then
index the collar and those cams release itself, and then you're just pretty much taking it off.
Spin right off. And what the camera can't see, which we'll promise you it's there is a lock that's open and a lock that is locked. So you can tell just by looking at it that it's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you still have that coarse thread, so it's not like the can's going to go down range.
You're not fine threading it. Yeah.
Exactly.
But there's a positive lock on that.
Correct.
And you can visually see the lock.
And also we have streamlined the design and size of our mount itself. The SRD lineup was a great mount, but it was fairly large. So it will ship with a muzzle brake in the box, but we do offer it in a flash hider. If the customer wants to buy accessory flash hiders or just change out that muzzle device itself.
Gotcha.
And again, for customer support, we offer standard half 28 thread pitch as well as 5/8 24. So pretty much your common thread pitches are already out there.
Covered.
And then also on the SIG rifle barrels, we do use a taper on our crown. We also do 90-degree shoulder.
Okay.
So we're trying to make it as friendly as possible for everyone's.
So not just SIG rifle or SIG weapon specific.
Exactly.
It can work on any other weapon system out there as long as it's half 28 or 5/8 24. And not kind of pigeonholing it to one thing, but kind of opening it up to the whole marketplace of stuff that's out there.
Correct.
And you're going to get that. You're going to get the flow through technology. You're going to get the reduction of gases back to you, even though you're not using a SIG weapon.
Correct.
But you're using a SIG suppressor. You're still going to gain that that flow through technology, but not getting the gas and the particulate back at you.
Exactly. Pretty much all of the SLX and SLH are a low toxic gas suppressor. If you're looking for the best sound suppression, the SLH is going to be your friend. If you're looking for just an extreme hard use suppressor on your SBR, the SLX is probably going to be your best friend.
So the takeaway from that is X, hard use, H, hunting.
H, hunting.
There you go.
And again, a lot of our cans, they look very similar. We call it out clear as day with big bold lettering of whether it's a 5.56 can or a 7.62 can. Also in our lineup, you're going to see in the SLH lineup, there's a 300 can.
Okay.
That 300 can is a 9-inch suppressor. That is again optimized for 300 blackout
subsonic. Perfect.
So you can still shoot all of our 7.62 cans up to 300 Win Mag, or any other caliber of equal pressure, or smaller bore diameter.
Yeah. So if you have your 7.62, you can still hybridize it or run your 5.56 through it. It's just not optimal.
Yep.
But you can.
If you have your 6.5 Creedmoor or again, a SIG 277 Fury.
I want to see it. Bring it out.
You can run your 30 cal can, whether we label it 7.62 or that 300 can. Again, that 300 can, I have one in jail. I'm waiting for it to come out.
Optimized for 300.
Optimized for subs.
Yes.
And the reason that it's optimized, it is a 9-inch suppressor. It is a little bit longer. But if you run supersonic ammo through it, it's still going to do the job.
It's still going to work.
Very
It's
well.
just not going to be optimized like it will with that sub to get you that low sound signature that you're looking for.
Exactly. Because also not just sound is tone. So we're trying to, again, optimize. I mean, this is a pretty small can.
Yes.
So to still have sound suppression, we're also chasing tone. Because that also, you might have a dB or two higher pitch, but if you have that low tone volume, your sound suppression isn't going to be as noticeable.
No, and that's one thing people always chase, like, what's your dB rating? What's this? I'm like, you can print that, you can publish it, but if you don't know the tone and the pitch that can is, they could both come out 130, 140, but just swear to me that one is quieter.
Quieter or louder.
Because of the pitch and the tone of it. Because if it's real tingy, if it's real high, it's going to present itself to be louder.
Correct.
Yeah.
And again, with the coatings on the outside, all high temp Cerakote. If you'd want to have this color to match your FDE rifle, you can send it off to your Cerakote guy, and again, coat it. With the additive manufacturing side, if it does ever get damaged, again, there is a little line right here.
Line.
So again, if someone is concerned of, well, it got printed on, how can we put it back or fix it? We can pretty much cut that suppressor off right at that line. Your serial number is below that, so you still keep your same serial number. You don't have to do that whole possibly 1 year wait for a Form 4 to come back. And Sig can re-weld, I'm sorry, not weld anymore.
Reprint.
Reprint.
What was it, dynamic?
Pretty much additive manufacturing.
Additive manufacturing.
Pretty much print your baffle core back on.
And that's above any obstruction. So it's almost impossible for you to get a projectile to come into that and break perfectly 90 right-hand
if
turn.
If a bullet made a 90-degree turn right outside of the muzzle,
your gun.
We got some problems going on more than just the suppressor.
So that's been thought through. So baffle strikes happen. It's an industry thing. They will happen. But you guys have that forethought to know that if it did happen, we can at least core cut it here, reprint it out, and return it legally. ATF's not going to ting you. You're not going to put another one in jail. Hey, cool thing, we have e-file now, so it's not like not 10 months, anymore to a year. They tell us it's 90 days. We're going with that up to the point where we put a little disclaimer: is I'm getting it to them as fast as I can. We're pushing those things out daily as fast as we can, but
it's in their hands
we're hoping, that's the word that they use, we hope to be in 90 days.
Yes, and whenever it's within that 90 days, that's where now you can start picking up more suppressors and not have to wait a full year before you go out and grab that next one.
We're definitely seeing it. Now that I have the full line of Sig suppressors in-house, hopefully we'll be seeing a lot more of these moving out, especially when people start to learn and see the innovation you guys put into it. A lot of companies out there put out a new can, and it is same as the old can or same as someone else's can. We call it a cool name. We change a mount or something.
Whenever we pretty much brought out the SLX and the SLH line, it is a 180-degree turn from where our SRD lineup was. Again, with that military contract, once you put a suppressor, whenever the military was looking at that parts per million chart, and we were more than tripling it with ours and other competitors' standard baffle core cans, there had to be a change. You were not going to achieve what they wanted with a standard design suppressor.
And even the standard flow through, which there's really only one or two other companies that are doing that, they still weren't really achieving the particulate tests that you guys did. They were getting the flow through, they were meeting some criteria, but they weren't meeting the full package of criteria that Sig did.
Correct. Where we're hitting a dB threshold to keep them hearing safe. We're also keeping the shooter more healthy by not having any of those toxic gases coming back through the ejection port and breathing them in.
So we're not making them deaf, and we're not sending them to a early cancer grave by putting all these harsh, heavy metals and toxins in their body.
Exactly, and I'm sure your marketing people can possibly cut it in. We have some very good FLIR footage on the Sig Sauer website and the Sig Sauer YouTube channel that shows exactly what we're talking about. To where if you're shooting during daylight, you probably don't notice any of those gases coming around that ejection port. But with FLIR technology, it's kind of shocking whenever we have a standard SRD 762 can and then replace it with a SLX can.
So you can
see how much it is.
You can see that particulate hot gas moving out of there.
Exactly.
And I mean, personally, we've been shooting a long enough time. I can taste it. There's a certain taste when you're ripping off an AR or something with that semi-auto platform with a standard baffled can.
Whenever you're a first-time suppressor shooter, it's almost like getting christened with CLP and some carbon in the face, and your eyes might be watering after a full mag dump, and you're smiling ear to ear because it's amazingly quiet.
It was awesome, but you're also or the guys who really run their guns wet. Those are the fun ones.
Yes,
because they look like they just got out of NASCAR. So just covered in oil.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think we've hit the full line here, and so what other? So obviously we talked about this one's picked up by a military unit.
Yes, on the Mod X9.
Yes.
SOCOM is running that. We also have some other very high-end professional users that are using our SLX lineup.
Nice.
Can't really name drop any exact unit that's using them, but you'll probably definitely start seeing a little bit more.
And they're being fielded
soon
by our military, and then you guys also tease the whole entire world by making 50 guns that no one can find, no one can get, but everybody wants.
Maybe an MCX Spear?
Yeah, exactly. In this caliber, this magical caliber 277 Fury. I will have one someday. That's my goal.
We will have them. We are already shipping ammo for the 277.
In the hunting ammo, not the military ammo, right?
It is the two-piece ammo.
Okay.
So we currently right now have a 135 grain full metal jacket.
Okay.
And then we also have a 150 grain Nosler AccuBond.
Okay.
In the 277. That you're roughly pushing 3,000 feet per second.
Yeah.
But it's coming out of a 16-inch barrel, not a 24, 26-inch barrel.
Yes. And then what was the barrel length on the
MCX Spear for a contract setup? That is going to be a 13-inch.
Yeah.
So that is a little bit short guy
with a lot of
firepower.
Yeah, with a lot of anger coming out of that muzzle. Cool. All right, so we hit Sig suppression. Any other things coming down the pipeline at Sig, or anything that you know that's coming out this year, or you want to mention anything cool?
Be ready for some classic line guns.
Yes.
Some more 320s.
Some more 320s.
Maybe a 210.
Ooh, I like those.
So
perfect.
And again, MCX Spear, hopefully.
Yeah.
we released one, so
hopefully the commercial version of that will come out. I'm not holding my breath on that one for the present, coming up fast in the future. But the way Sig comes out with stuff and you guys produce it, come out with it, take it to market. You want to have a quality product, you want to have a well-tested product, and you want to have a product that when you put it in the public's hands, it works as advertised, and it meets Sig's quality standards.
And that's one thing. We don't want to bring something out and then have an issue with it. We don't want our customers to be the beta testers.
Yeah.
We want it to run right from the get-go and pretty much have any little quirk or
already worked out
before it ever reaches the hands of you, the dealer, or be the customer.
So if you have my Calyx kit done, I'll take that one.
Got it.
Perfect. Well, this has been Jess, Razorback Armory, Jacob Wideman, Sig. So this has been our Bullet Points podcast on Sig Sauer suppressors. Appreciate you watching. Thank you. And stop by the shop, take a look at these, stop by another dealer if you're not local, pick up some Sig suppressors.
And hopefully I'll be back with some more fun toys later this week.
All right. Thank you for watching.